This is the Jillian Grace Show, Vibrational Architect. I teach the discipline of redesigning the internal patterns that shape your love, your relationships, and the life you quietly know you were meant to live. Whether you're moving through familiar emotional cycles or you're a high achiever who senses there's more available to you, you're in the right place. This is where people learn to master the architecture of their lives and release the patterns holding them back from their inner blueprint. Each episode ends with a guided transmission to anchor the vibration we're working with so you can fully step into becoming the architect of your own life. Join me, Jillian Grace, as we pull back the layers and rebuild the vibration you were always meant to live from. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jillian Grace Show. I'm your host, Jillian Grace, Vibrational Architect, and this space is where we learn how to read the world, not react to it. We are exploring a deeper intelligence behind our experiences, the patterns in life, and the mirrors that back us, and how the frequency shifts to shape who we become. This show is for those who feel deeply, for those who sense shifts before they make sense, for those who know that every experience carries information, not punishment, not destiny, information. And today's episode is one that speaks directly to the moments that shake your inner world. The moments that hit your chest, not your body. The moments that disrupt your emotional landscape and force you to confront something that you didn't see coming. We're talking about the emotional impact and the truth that pain isn't there to destroy you. Pain is a messenger. Pattern is the message. And often that pain is the first indicator that something new is trying to be reborn in you. Let's get into it. Pain isn't always something physical. Sometimes it's the kind that hits your chest, not your body. It's the kind that steals your breath, not your mobility. It's the kind that comes from shock, from disappointment, disruption, or even a sudden shift in your reality. That's the pain we're going to talk about today, the emotional kind that knocks the wind out of your spirit. Pain is the messenger. The pattern is the message. And your reaction is the rewrite of the message and how you're integrating and taking it on. When you understand the difference, you can stop drowning in the moment and start decoding the meaning inside of the moment. You can stop personalizing any impact and start observing the information. You stop collapsing into pain and start reading the patterns. And this is important. The world doesn't mirror your pain, it mirrors your patterns. Pain isn't just the alert system that tells you that a pattern is active. The mirror isn't just the moment that it hurts. It's the repetition underneath it. That's what's reflecting back to you. And there's one thing that's truth that matters here more than anything. Emotional pain is an indicator that something new is trying to be reborn. Pain shows up at the edge of transformation. It shows up when the old pattern is cracking and a new pattern is trying to emerge. It shows up when life is shifting into a new version of yourself that you haven't met yet, but it's calling you to come. Today, we're going to talk about the emotional impact, the nervous system shock, and the sacred pause, the power of your reaction, the lessons inside chaos, and the rebirth that pain often signals. So take a breath. Let's begin. First, the moment that hits you. There are moments in life that will arrive without warning. Moments that feel like someone pulled the floor out from underneath you. Moments where your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your mind races. This is emotional pain. It's not weakness or failure. It's your internal alarm saying something here matters and something here is shifting. And this is the truth. You can't control these moments. You can't control the shock. You can't control the disruption. You can't control the emotional punches that you never saw coming. But you can control once the impact settles. Your reaction is where the power lies. Your reaction is where the pattern begins to shift. Your reaction is where the mirror becomes clear. Your reaction will be in how you choose to grow. Pain is the messenger. The reaction is the doorway. The pattern is the message waiting on the other side. And beneath all of that, pain is also a contraction before expansion. It's the pressure before the breakthrough. It's the signal that something in you is trying to shift and be reborn. Now, first, when you have an emotional trauma that hits you out of nowhere, and many of us experience this, especially if we are actively growing in our lives and we are trying to better ourselves, we will experience traumas that are designed to help us stay on course or to put us on the course we're supposed to be on. So, when emotional pain hits, your system immediately goes into survival mode. And that's important to understand because your intuition becomes quiet and your mind becomes loud. Your body tightens, your breath shortens. This is not the moment to look for meaning. This is not the moment to try to interpret anything. During a shock state, it's not the moment to try to force clarity. You can't align from that state of adrenaline. You can't figure out what's true. And the truth requires stillness. So when you're in a mode of stress and panic, it's not a place of stillness. The shock state is not a place to make decisions. It's a place to breathe. It's a place to stabilize. It's a place to let your system catch up to reality. Nothing's wrong with you. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. This is where the mirror teaching stays intact. The shock is not the mirror. The shock is the impact. The mirror shows up later when the pattern reveals itself. And there, even in the shock, something new is stirring. Rebirth often happens in the moment that feel the most disorienting. It's important to take that sacred pause. Between the moment something happens and the moment you decide who you're going to be in that response, there's a sacred pause. This pause is not weakness. This pause is power. This is the moment where you stop reacting and start witnessing. It's the moment where you say, I don't need to understand this yet. I just need to be here with myself. I just need to be there with myself. The pause protects you from spiraling. It protects you from catastrophizing. It protects you from forcing meaning. It protects you from making decisions from fear. It protects you from abandoning yourself in the name of urgency. The sacred pause is where your emotional body recalibrates. It's where your breath begins to deepen again. It's where your intuition begins to thaw. It's where your clarity begins to rise. And that's where the mirror becomes visible, not in the pain, but in the pattern that begins to surface once the noise settles. And it's there that the rebirth begins to take shape because rebirth requires space. It requires a breath. It requires a moment where the old loosens its grip and the new begins to form. So when you go through a traumatic situation, you go through something you didn't understand, you didn't realize was going to happen, you couldn't have predicted. That first initial moment of panic, that is not the place where you try to figure out what to do next. That's not the place where you try to recalibrate from. You allow yourself to go through all the human feelings and the emotions that are necessary. And then when that settles, you look at it for what it is. And everything in our life is there to teach us something. It's there to help us grow. It's there to help support the mission or the objective that we have on this planet. So being aware of those things is so important. And understanding them and processing them the way your heart feels is going to put you in line with the blueprint you were meant to write. When the dust settles, it starts to become about reclaiming your center. Your center is not a mood. It's not confidence. Your center is not certainty. Your center is a baseline frequency, the part of you that remains steady even in the noise. To return to it, you don't need to fix anything. You don't need to understand anything. You don't even need to be okay. You just need to reconnect to the part of you that is ancient, grounded, and unshakable. Ways to return to your center. So when you're in that moment of trauma, when you're in a moment of something that really shook you, and you feel all that adrenaline and all those human responses, and you want to bring that spirit energy back in, you want to bring that soul awareness back into that place so that you know how to take those next steps. I want you to lengthen your exhales. So taking a deep breath in and then just allowing that exhale to be controlled on the way out. When you're doing that, you're symbolically controlling the output of energy that you're choosing to send out. So doing that allows you to then become control of the way your energy is flowing and the way your emotions are processing. Another great way, if you can, is to put your bare feet on the ground. I'll always say this, if you can ground yourself in the moment of trauma, it can bring a lot of clarity to you. But not everyone has the option to do that. A lot of times it's going to be about sitting in silence without trying to figure it out. So sitting there, letting yourself be. Every single time your mind starts to spin, catch it. Say to it, I know you're there. I hear you. I need a moment. Start to interact with that moment to figure things through and to center yourself. That will help to bring you back to a baseline of power. You can also name what you're feeling without judging it. You can say, right now, in this moment, I'm experiencing whatever it is: sadness, fear, betrayal, loss. Just saying that to yourself and acknowledging that emotion is extremely important because it validates your experience. It validates you loving yourself enough to see yourself in that moment. What you don't want to do is say the words, I am scared, or I am fearful, or I am traumatized, because the power of the words I am go back to ancient history. Once you send that out into the universe, it doesn't become a pattern of healing, it becomes a pattern of reciprocation. So if you don't want to keep returning back to your reasons to be scared and reasons to be fearful, then you have to step away from that wording and step into a more passive way. So understanding that you aren't the presence of being scared. You're experiencing those emotions. So, changing your dialogue and how you address it is an important part of maintaining control of the frequency that's moving through it. Then, you can ask your body what it needs instead of asking your mind what it fears. That's a great way to take these moments and center them back into self love. Because when you return to your center, the emotional pain softens, not because the situation changes, because you change. Your nervous system settles, your intuition reawakens, your clarity becomes accessible. And from that clarity, the pattern becomes visible. And once that pattern is visible, the mirror becomes readable. And this is where you begin to sense the rebirth. This is the part of you that's emerging. This is the part that the pain was pointing you towards. In that moment when you can gain that clarity, you can see things from a perspective to understand where they are going, what called them towards you, how you're evolving, what part of that evolution is bringing this transition into your life. And that's really important to be able to step into that spot because that's when you start to consciously become aware of architecting your vibration again, rather than allowing the situation to become the architect of that vibration. Pain is the messenger. Emotional pain is the knock on the door. It's the signal that something in your inner world needs attention. It's the messenger that says, look here, something matters. Pain is not the lesson. Pain is not the meaning. Pain is not the truth. Pain is the alert system. This is the first signal. It's the beginning, not the conclusion. It's so important to stop treating pain like the whole story and then focusing on that hurt. When you stop treating pain as the whole story, you free yourself to see what it's pointing you towards. And what I mean by that is so many people take the trauma and the trauma becomes the story. They take the situation, they take what they just went through, they take how they were just wronged, they take how they were just hurt, and that becomes the new theme for them. They are this person who is hurt or are injured or upset or saddened. And once you do that, you lengthen the process of being able to see the reflection, being able to see the expansion. But once you step back from that pain, telling the whole story, you start to see what it's pointing towards. And this is where the mirror teaching aligns perfectly. Pain is not the reflection. Pain is the flashlight pointing you towards the reflection. And pain is also the contraction before the expansion. It's the pressure that precedes the transformation. It's the signal that something in you is trying to be reborn. Pattern is the message. Once the emotional intensity settles, the deeper message becomes much more visible. Patterns will reveal where you've been ignoring your intuition. They'll reveal where you've been overextending. They'll reveal where you've been self silencing. They'll reveal where you've been hoping instead of observing, where you've been tolerating what drains you, where you've been outgrowing but stayed anyway, where you've been asked to evolve but are refusing. The emotional pain is the knock. The pattern is standing on the other side. The lesson isn't in the moment that breaks you. The lesson is in the moment that reveals you. And this mirror, and this is the mirror, the world doesn't mirror your pain, it mirrors your patterns. Pain is just the alert system that tells you that a pattern is active. The mirror isn't the moment that hurts, it's the repetition underneath it. That's what life is reflecting back to you. Pain is the messenger, pattern is the message. And the message is often this: a new version is trying to emerge, a new version of you is trying to expand. And it's time to take a look at that piece and see where it fits into the life that you've already constructed so you can architect from a place of awareness moving forward. The lesson in everything. Every experience contains information, not destiny, not punishment, information. The lesson is rarely about the event itself. The lesson is about the pattern of the event that gets exposed. Sometimes the lesson is about boundaries. Sometimes it's about self-trust. Sometimes it's about slowing down. Sometimes it's about waking up. Sometimes it's about seeing something you didn't want to see. Sometimes it's about remembering your own strength. But the lesson is normally never about how the outside world was preventing you from what you needed to become. The lesson is always about the inner work inside of you that's needed in order to take those next steps. It might be about standing more in your truth. It might be about becoming the person you want to be. It might be about speaking from integrity or standing in that light of who you are. And all of us are going to be pushed to do those things, especially in these coming years, because authenticity cannot be faked. And in a world where everything can be faked, that is the only thing that we're left with to be who we're here to be, our authentic selves. And no one in your life is ever holding you back from that authentic self. It's about you rising to the occasion. Your reaction is the recalibration. You can't control the moment when it hits you, but you control the meaning it gave to you. You can't control the story you tell yourself afterwards, but you can control the pattern you choose to continue or the pattern you choose to break. Your reaction is where the power lives. Your reaction is where the shift begins. Your reaction is where the recalibration happens. Pain is the messenger. Pattern is the message. Your reaction is the recalibration. And the recalibration is the moment you step out of the old mirror into the new one. And that new mirror, that's the rebirth. That's the emergence. That's the version of you that the pain was trying to introduce to you all along. It's always been within you. It's just been waiting to be uncovered. If you have a moment where your emotional pain has knocked the wind out of you and you're failing, you're evolving, you're shedding old frequencies, you're remembering your center. You don't need to rush, you don't need to be certain, you don't need to be okay. You just need to stay present within yourself long enough to see what the message is revealing. The pain is temporary. The patterns are instructional. The rebirth is inevitable. In the moment you can separate the pain from the pattern and stop focusing on what caused the pain and start seeing the power that you're here to reclaim, that's when the story begins to unfold. Your center is still there. Your clarity is still there. Your intuition is still there. And you will rise from this moment with a deeper understanding of who you are and who you're becoming. Pain is the messenger. Pattern is the message. Recalibration is the outcome. I want to urge anyone who's in one of those moments of recalibration to make sure that you focus on the idea of who you want to be. Focus on your authenticity. Focus on what you are proud of, what would make you proud of yourself. Focus on your depth. Focus on pulling that through. Find it within you to be the best version of you and take accountability in all the places that you haven't. Because through that awareness, your authenticity will shine. At the end of every episode, I take the opportunity to give you a guided transmission where we can spend a few moments together really anchoring in everything we learned on this episode and also centering ourselves into this light. If you're drawn, please take a moment to close your eyes, find someplace comfortable, sit and relax, and I'm going to walk you through a way to restabilize your energy when the frequencies around you are coming at you so strong, it's hard to keep your vibration in the direction that you need. Settle comfortably into a position and let your body soften. Take a slow inhale through your nose and let the exhale fall out of your mouth. Again, inhale and release. Let your awareness drop from your body into your mind. Feel the weight of your legs. Feel the support beneath you. Let your shoulders and jaw loosen. Imagine a gentle wave of warmth moving down from the top of your head over your face, your throat, your chest, your stomach, your hips, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Allow it to flow freely. This wave isn't forcing anything. It's simply reminding your body that it's safe to soften. Place one hand on your chest and one on your lower belly. Feel the rise and fall beneath your palms. Let your breath be slow, steady, unhurried. Silently say to yourself, I am here. I am safe. I am returning to myself. Let your breath be deeper. With every inhale, imagine drawing your energy back to your center, back into your body, back into your grounding, back into your truth. With every exhale, release the shock, the static, the fragments of the moment that overwhelmed you. Feel your energy gathering. Feel it stabilizing. Feel it settling into one clear, steady line through the center of your body. Now imagine a soft light at the base of your spine, warm, steady, unshakable. With each breath, let it rise upward, filling your belly, your chest, and then your throat, the space between your eyes, until it reaches the crown of your head. This is your energy of returning home. This is your system remembering its strength. This is your field realigning after impact. Take one more deep breath in and a slow, long, deep breath out. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. You're back in your body, you're back in your center, and you're back in power. Thank you for being with me today and for giving yourself the space to breathe, to feel, and to come back to your center. If you're moving through something very heavy, something shocking, something that shook your inner world, I want you to remember this. You're not alone. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're in a moment of becoming. And as you move through the rest of your day, stay close to your breath, stay close to your body, stay close to the part of you that knows you will rise with more clarity and more strength and more truth than you had ever before. Thank you for listening to The Jill and Grace Show. Take care of yourself, honor your vibration, and I'll see you in the next episode. Let this episode settle into your system. And if someone in your life is moving through their own patterns or stepping into their next level, send this episode to them. The vibration you're integrating becomes stronger when it's shared. And if you feel called, liking the show or leaving a review helps this work to reach people who are meant to find it. I'm Jillian Grace, and I'll meet you in the next episode as we keep rebuilding the blueprint that you were always meant to live from.